Blog Talk Radio.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Red Light Sports Ramble, presented by the Red Light Sports Network. I am your co-host, Troy Otradovic, joined by the two-stepping Evan Witalison out in the great state of Wisconsin. How are you doing today, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing good. I laugh at that, and I don't know if you heard me laugh about that. I laugh about that because earlier today, try to get workouts in every day and do a lot of beach body stuff and along those lines. But today, thanks to Beachbody on Demand, I decided to try give a workout a try. They have a free preview of a new workout that's coming out by Shaun T called Size. The end of exercise has arrived is what it talks about, and it's a dance program. It's for those that like to dance, and you get to dancing and figure out, give it a try, because hey, sometimes to see change, we do need to get out of our comfort zone sometimes and give something new a try. So I did give it my best shot, and I probably look hideous doing it, and I'm glad I didn't videotape it, or people would be having quite the laugh fest about it. But I laugh because I do this program that's centered around dancing, and you open the show with the two-stepping, Evan Witalison. I just had to laugh about that. It was just, quite funny. It's like you had a camera in the room I was in or something when I was working out.
Well, I do know that you tried something new because I do, believe it or not, read our Facebook page every once in a while, and you posted it an hour ago, so I knew you tried something new. So for those that don't think I read our Facebook page, I actually do. And I did it, though, because you had mentioned we're going to step out of our comfort zone, our stepping out, and we are going to do that tonight. And so I kind of had to segue that, and I thought it would be kind of a nice little nickname for tonight. But tonight, Evan, we have a special guest, or actually special guest tonight. We have the Hobbs-sisters, Hannah and Lauren, joining us tonight. And I know that we have Lauren on the phone because Hannah is running a little bit late. But Lauren, how are you doing tonight?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so I'm going to. I know we're waiting for your sister, but I want to let our listeners know we're of course a sports talk show, and so we're going to mix a little bit of country music tonight with a little bit of sports. And so we do have a short clip of your latest song. So I'm going to actually, before we play that, why don't you just give the listeners it's the main single on your website, and just give them a little bit of background about this song, because it's actually, I love it. I played it. It's a pretty catchy tune. I love it. So give the listeners a little bit of background about it, and then Evan, when she's done, if you go ahead and play it, that would be great.
Yeah, well, so we released... Oh, hey, here's Hannah.
Hello.
Y'all still there?
Hi, Hannah.
Okay.
Hi, how are you?
We're good. Hey, we heard you got stuck up. We're just talking about the new single. So, as Evan said, it's unacceptable that you're late, but we're okay. We'll forgive you right now.
Don't let it slide.
Let me off the hook this time.
But, Lauren, you can throw her under the bus. Let her talk about the new single. She just walked in the door, so have her explain it.
Yes, so our first single is called Love Don't Give Up. And it was the first song we released from our debut EP, which we dropped in 2013. And it was a song that we got from some writers in Nashville. The first time we heard it, we knew we wanted to cut it. It was just really catchy, really fun to sing. And so we were lucky enough to get to send it to some radio stations around the country and got some great feedback. So it was a really cool experience for us to release our first single.
Sounds good. Why don't you go ahead and play a little bit, Evan?
Okay.
What it feels like to let go of what's broken, to live and let it leave. a fight, swimming hard against an ocean that's not afraid of me. But now I'm lost at sea. Girl, don't give up on me yet. I tried and tried to hide, but you won't let me forget. I looked in my heart and there's just enough left. So love, don't give up on me yet.
And
No,
so that is a
you
little
know,
bit. That is a little preview. And so again, Hannah and Lauren, we appreciate you coming on the show. And so before we get started with the really hard questions, because we're going to give you some really hard questions tonight.
All right, we're ready.
Why don't you give the listeners just like your 30-second elevator pitch about the Hobbs-sisters, who you are, what you're doing, and let them know everything that's going on.
Absolutely. All right, so we are a twin sister country music duo. We're based out of Pittsburgh. We are both 23 years old. Our main feature of our group is tight harmonies. Being siblings and especially twin sisters, it gives us just a really cool sound as far as harmony goes, and so we like to utilize that in as many ways as possible in our songs.
Evan, did you put yourself? I was going to say, did you put yourself on mute again?
No, you're the one that always puts yourself on mute. I do it like maybe once every couple of weeks, and then you're like maybe 2 or 3 times a week. So watch before you call me out for putting me on mute. But anyways, I do want to say the single that we play. I was listening to the song on your website this evening prior to the show, and the unfortunate thing using Blog Talk Radio, it's the audio is not the greatest all the time, but it is a wonderful song as all your stuff is. I do encourage our listeners of the show to go to your website, the-hobbs-sisters.com. So I do encourage them all to go there and check it out. So
thank you.
Now you have you're very welcome, and you have a gig coming up. You're opening for Aaron Tippin coming up on the 19th at the 41st annual FOP Lodge 33 Country Music Show in Pennsylvania. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that and opening up for Aaron Tippin?
Absolutely. So we're really particularly excited about this concert. We've got family in Indiana. Our aunt and uncle live there, and they are just the best. They come to all of our shows, and you couldn't find better people than them. And so we've gone to the FOP concert for quite a few years with them now. We've seen all kinds of different artists there, and every year we go and enjoy the show and always left thinking like, oh, gosh, wouldn't it be so much fun to be up on that stage? And so this year, just enough things fell into place that we were fortunate enough to get asked to be the opening act for Aaron Tippin. And we love Aaron Tippin as well. He's an artist we grew up listening to, and we love his music. So it's sort of, we're so excited to play at the show and to get to share the stage with someone of the caliber of Aaron Tippin. So all around, it's one of our biggest shows of the summer. We couldn't be more excited.
I have to say, go ahead, Evan.
I was going to say, I enjoyed listening to Aaron Tippin as well growing up. Very great musician. I'm just kind of sad that you don't hear his stuff much on the radio anymore. I wish the radio would play more of his stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of, he had such great music, and we always loved all of his songs. It's a shame that he doesn't have as many out. They don't get played as much because he was always a fantastic artist that we love to listen to.
Yeah, he definitely is, and I will let the cat out of the bag. I am talking to his manager. We're actually trying to get Aaron Tippin on our show, and we're in talks of just trying to find the right time to get him on the show before the FOP concert, so that'll be pretty fun. And also, like you, I've been to the FOP concert a number of years. Do you guys remember when Larry Frick played? Does that name ring a bell?
That year.
Larry Frick's actually a friend of our network also.
Really? He was so talented. I so enjoyed the year that he was there. He was just really fun. He put on such a great show. It was really cool to watch him.
Yeah, he actually very talented. I have a CD actually in my car, and he is a very talented musician. And so leading into that, you guys have opened up for some pretty big name artists. And
Yes.
do you have one that kind of stands out above the rest of them, or is there a couple that you can tell us about that were really cool to do?
Sure.
Yeah,
sorry.
You go.
This is what happens when you're twins. You both try and start talking at the same time. We did an event back in November with one of the Pittsburgh radio stations, Y108. They called it Girls with Guitars. So they bring in 4 national female country artists, and then they always have one local group of girls or one girl who gets to kick off the show. And so this past November, they had the 2 of us on to open it up for them up at Heinz Field. And it was so awesome just to not only be able to get up there, and it was one of the bigger crowds we'd performed for. And so just to get to see all those people out in the audience and play our original music, and then to also just get to share the stage. It was Jana Kramer, the new duo Maddie and Tay, Ray Lynn and Cassie Pope, who are both from The Voice. And so it was just so cool to get to watch them and learn from what they did, and just to get to share the stage and be on a show with such awesome female acts. So it was definitely one of the coolest experiences we've had so far as being performers.
Yeah, that does sound very cool and very exciting to be a part of. That's got hopefully that's just the beginning of many many great things to come as well. So now, outside of music, you both graduated from Wake Forest. What about Wake drove you to want to go there?
It was sort of when we were in, senior year, kind of looking at colleges, thinking about where we wanted to go. We started looking at some places in the South, and kind of fell in love with it down there, especially North Carolina. We had a family friends. They used to be neighbors of ours, and their son went to Wake Forest. So we went down, and he gave us a tour, and we looked around and kind of just fell in love with the place, and it really felt like a place we could see ourselves. And it's a really unique, one of the things we loved about Wake, it's a smaller school. There's only about 5,000 students total in the undergrad program, but they're in Division I and they're in the ACC, and so you've got all the big sports, all the big experiences of a bigger school, but then a really tight-knit community. It was a cool place for us too people started to realize, we were singers, and we started doing some of the campus events, and we'd sing at the coffee house and do open mic nights, and it got to be a really cool place, too, where we could build a fan base for our music, and we had friends from all over the United States, so it helped us. It took our music a lot further than we ever thought we'd get it. So overall, it was definitely a wonderful experience for us.
And you answered my question. I was going to say, how did you think that propelled to where you are today? And you already answered that, but I would imagine that being able to do that now you have. And after graduating, you have all these people that are going across the country and still following you, which is great. Evan mentioned before for the listeners that to check out your website, the-hobbs-sisters.com. And I was reading your bio, and I was real impressed because in your bio, you give some mad props to your grandfather for inspiring you. So tell us a little bit more about your grandpa, because he was like one of the first things mentioned in your bio, which I thought was pretty cool. So let's give some props to your grandpa on the air tonight.
Absolutely. Our grandpa, it was our dad's dad. Sadly, he is no longer with us, but we called him, he was our Papa John, and he is definitely who we credit the most with getting us into music from when we were really little. His whole family, a lot of them were musical, and he himself played the guitar and banjo by ear. So whenever we'd go to visit our grandparents up in Ohio, he'd get his guitar out and we'd sing "She'll Be Coming Round the Mountain," and he loved to just hear us sing. Whatever we were singing in the choir, anything we learned at school, we would just go home to their house, and the first thing we do is just put on a little concert just for him and our grandma. And
nice.
He was one of the main reasons why we wanted to learn how to play the guitar. He actually had 2 guitars that we were able to use as our very first ones when we started taking lessons in high school, because he had given them to all the kids. And so he was just a wonderful man in so many ways, and he would pass away when we were 8 years old, but he just sort of left us with the love for music because he started us so young. So we always say we know he would have loved what we were doing now, and just would have been so proud of us for chasing our dreams. We've come a long way from sitting in their family room